Good morning, Your Excellency. I am Madhurima and I have done my undergraduation in Political Science and Economics from Delhi University. I am from Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh.
Good morning, Your Excellency. I am K.H. Abhishek. I have done my MBA from IIM Bangalore. I belong to Dakshin Kannada district of Karnataka.
Good morning, sir. My name is Chandru M. I am from Tirunelveli district, Tamil Nadu. I have done graduation in medical science. Thank you, sir.
Namaste, sir. I am Sridhar Pandey. Graduated in computer science. I am from Gazipur district of Uttar Pradesh. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. My name is Kshitij Gyalatsa. I have done my MBBS from AIMS Delhi and I am from Odisha.
Good morning, sir. My name is Vikas Bhandari and I am a mechanical engineer and I belong to Nasik, Maharashtra.
Good morning, Your Excellency. My name is Rajat Jain. I am from Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh, and I have done my electrical engineering from Gwalior.
Good morning, sir. My name is Garvit Birani. I am a chartered accountant. I did it from Mumbai and I originally belong to Bhilwara in Rajasthan.
Good morning, sir. I am Sindhil Kumar. I am a mechanical graduate. I am from Madurai. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. My name is Rajesh. I am from Mailaduguri. I am a graduate mechanical engineer. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. My name is Mohana Priya. I have completed my MBBS from CMC Vellore.
All done? Anyone left? Okay. At the very outset, I like to congratulate you because you have crossed 2 hurdles, okay? Now the third one and the final one. But the third one also is important. After all, it carries marks. How much? 275. So it's not a small, you will have a missing of a few marks, fraction of it, people make it or lose it. Now, your interview is since after, have you got your dates? Interview begins from 31st of this month, 30th of this month, okay. Where is the interview? All in Delhi or some other places? All in Delhi. Okay. Now, at the beginning, I will try to give you some tips about your interview. Then I will address your questions which you have, because questions will be long. I know that you will have many doubts or questions which you can ask. But let me just share with you some basic tips which you must keep in mind when you are going to face the interview. You know this is a personality test, isn't it? Your knowledge has been tested through your prelims and main examination. Now this is the test of your personality. And here, answer to a question asked by the board is important. But equally or more important is the way you answer, your approach to the answer, to approach to the question. You must realize it. It is a test of your personality, not the test of your knowledge. Knowledge, of course, if you are dumb, that's different. You would not have been dumb. After all, you have cleared 2 tests. So I'm sure you are not. Now, what is personality? That we have to keep that in mind. We must have a clarity about what is personality, which will be tested by the board. You know, our personality has, one is the physical aspect. Okay? So, physically, you have to, it means what? You are presentable. You shouldn't be lousy. You must understand, you shouldn't be lousy. You shouldn't be looking lazy, down. You must exuberate energy. You are, what is expected of people of your age is energetic. So you are alert, alive, energetic, and presentable. As a civil servant, you will be meeting people in various capacities, wherever you are. In public, you will have a lot of public dealings. You have a dealing with officers. there are people who are, who remain too insular. There's somebody who is an introvert. I mean, extrovert doesn't mean who talks too much. I'm not saying that one expects the civil servant to be extrovert too much. The question is, your appearance, your personality, when somebody meets you, should feel comfortable meeting you. You should not be one who should be intimidating people. No. That means what? That means a smiling face. If you don't, some of you don't have it, develop it. You have time, if necessary, force the smile. Now, I'm sure there's gentlemen candidates would be wearing suit. Many of you would be wearing suit first time. Better practice it. You should not, because you will be conscious of your dress. That is not that will be a distraction. Ladies, of course, will be wearing saris. So, those of you who don't know how to wear sari, better get comfortable wearing saris, because that is the more appropriate dress would be there. And gentlemen, if you already have your suit stitched, well and good. If you don't have, it's getting late, get it done quickly. A well-fitting suit. Shouldn't be a lousy one. You shouldn't go for try to avoid having the ready-made from the shop you pick up and put on, because your appearance will look lousy. When you enter the hall, interview hall, the first look of you will be something which will form the mind of a person. Of course, subsequent conversation and all will be important, but you must have a presentable look, so get a suit stitched quickly, because you don't have much time. Tailor also will take time. Shouldn't be gaudy, too loud color suit. No, absolutely red jacket. No, it should be sober, sober color. Avoid having check, and try to have plain. If you have check, is okay, doesn't matter. Because I'm giving you some practical things that you need to, which bears in mind of the interview board when they see a candidate. So the physical aspect of you I have discussed. Now, then your intellectual and emotional aspect. Intellectual is when a question is asked, when board puts you a question, don't be in a hurry to respond. If one who responds very fast is not considered good, by the way, because that means you are not applying your mind fully. As a civil servant, you are supposed to assess the situation before you take a decision. If your decision cannot be, if your answers are quick, nobody is going to ask you who is the Prime Minister of India. Okay? They will ask you questions which will involve some thinking. So whatever question is asked, first listen and process the question. Don't be in a hurry to give the answer, because a speed in answer is not a mark of your merit. At times it can go against you. That here is a person who is impulsive, who is just prompt reacts. You have to think and process. Okay? When a question is asked, invariably the question will be of a nature where you will be giving your assessment, your opinion. Now, here, a note of caution. Your assessment, your opinions are fine, but you should not be opinionated, should not sound opinionated. What is the difference between opinion and opinionated? Difference is when you have you have rigid views you have made. Most of the questions which will be asked are of relating to real situations, real life situations. Now, on that, you are not, you are not familiar with all the aspects of that issue. You would have only read the newspaper, okay? Somebody might have given you a talk. You might have read in a book. But every newspaper opinion, every op-ed is an opinion of somebody. It is not the fundamental truth. You must realize it. So these are all opinions. So based on those, but they are the inputs through which you learn. So these opinions should form your opinion. But should a new thing come, you should be open to change your opinion, your assessment. Not that, nahi, come what may, this is what it is, this is what right. No, that's not. That is the difference between opinion and opinionated. Opinionated means you have already formed your view so rigidly that this is not a good sign. Because as a civil servant, right from the beginning till through your career, whenever you will be taking decisions, multiple days, every moment will be, every day you will be virtually, practically taking. So some facts will be brought to your notice. If tomorrow some more facts come which require review of your decision, you should be open to review the decision. You should not be, no, I have taken, this is what it is. That's not. That is opinionated. I am telling you, these are personality traits. Some people have become, you should also realize that you are potential civil servant. You are not activist. Activists can say whatever they wish. They can write whatever they wish. They can shout whatever they wish. You are potential civil servant. You are going to civil service. And as a civil servant, your personal views have significance only for internal communications. Whichever position you hold, you have a view, you share with your colleagues, your seniors, but once a decision is taken, is the final. So government policy, don't be critical of Government of India policy, okay? Some people in their anxiety to show that their intellect, they start dissecting the Government of India policy. Oh, this policy is faulty policy. No. That means you may be good for being an activist, but you are not good for being a civil servant. Understand? Are you getting my points? Have your opinion, but when you are expressing it, it must be that this is the material you have based on which it appears that this is the right course. That means here is a candidate who is answering the question and he or she is framing the response in the context of inputs, the information, the fact that he or she has. That means you are forming evidence-based opinion, evidence-based assessment. And that's why in the note of caution, don't get carried away by some op-ed. There may be a big person who is maybe a high-profile person. He has written or she has written, which means nothing. You are you. You are not that person. Whoever, howsoever high or mighty a person may be, or a scholar the person may be, that his or her opinion is only an opinion. It is not the final truth. So, in your response, you should not sound opinionated. Never be critical of Government of India policy. At the same time, when you are defending the Government of India policy, you should not be sounding as a rabid defender in the sense that any policy which is framed is a policy for the society, framed by the human being. There is always room for improvement. However, no policy is a 100% distilled, foolproof policy. Even if the policy is good, at implementation level you will have problems. There are problems. So, a good policy doesn't have a leg of its own. It has to be implemented by the implementing agency. And if there are problems in the implementing agencies, those problems are equally important. Policy alone is not enough. So, when you are making any kind of observation, if the comment is made on a policy, that how, let us say somebody question is asked, I am just putting you up to it. Board can ask any question. What is your opinion on Mahatma Gandhi rural employment guarantee? Should it be there or should it not be there? Or how do you think that this is a very, very sound policy? Now, what should be your response? Your response should be that yes, sir, this is a policy which through poverty alleviation, because there are people, a lot of people who are in our country we have a sizable number of people who are very poor. Now this scheme is essentially to benefit them. It also meets the requirement of the right to work. It also fulfills that. And that way it has helping the poor in getting job through which they earn some money. So it is improving the livelihood standard of the people, of the poor people. So this policy is good. Now on the question, so further is asked, are there any? Then you can say, okay, I know identification of right kind of person, the genuine beneficiary and all those practical, now that we have got, everyone has got account holder, so the prospect of money being pilfered in between is also reduced significantly. And but what I'm saying is, even when you are coming up a policy, first thing is you don't have to be hard critic of a government policy. Avoid being criticizing the government, central government policy. Your opinion, suppose if you feel something, put it in a way that appears that you are going further improving on it. Understand? That policy is good, you are making it better. Your suggestion. This is how it can. That's okay. That's to that extent it's fine. But don't be critical of it. Okay? Now, keep these. Suppose if a question is asked and you don't know the answer, it can happen. Because the board can ask any question. Very easy to ask a question. If the board people sit on the other side and you start asking questions, after question they will not respond. So it is their privilege to ask any question that they wish. So there is a fair possibility that you don't know the answer. If you don't know the answer, the world is not lost. Don't say, oh my God, now what do I do? Now I am going to fail. That should be there. You don't know the answer, think over it, take time, pause, and then don't feel shy, afraid, sir, I am not prepared for this. I don't think I will be able to give a satisfactory answer. Don't say I don't know. I don't know. Instead of saying that I don't know, I say, sir, I don't think I have enough material to give a satisfactory answer. Understand? So when the question is asked, you do not know the answer, and put it with a confident face, smiling. Don't feel shy about it. And don't feel that, okay, now I have not answered the question, so the interview board will think that I am a dumb person. No, it's not. Nobody knows. If you start asking question to me, maybe 70% question I will not know. Answer I won't have. So that doesn't mean. Nobody is know-all. We are all human beings. You have to psychologically, mentally convince yourself that people, those who are sitting in the board at the high positions, at your age, they were as good, or maybe may not be as good as you are. Over the years, they have grown. So don't get intimidated by the board. Okay? Now, basic things that you keep in mind. Basic things. Your appearance. Keep a smiling face. Be properly dressed. When a question is asked, don't be in a hurry to respond. Process the question. If you don't know the answer, say, I am afraid, sir, I don't think I have sufficient material to give a satisfactory answer to this question. I'm sorry. And I'm afraid of this. Good enough. No. The answer that you give, because it is also a test of your communication ability. Written communication, they have tested you. How are you in oral communication? That is also a test of your personality. If a question is asked, don't start giving a long theory. This is why it is, that is why. No, this and why you can write theory is okay. Try to be brief, to the point that you have expressed yourself. Because brevity is also a mark that suppose if a question, the answer can be made short. If you are going a too lengthy an answer, they will cut you short. Either they will cut you short, or they will say, oh, you are not capable of expressing your thing concisely, briefly. Do that. Now, and even till the end, suppose if you are the question, first question asked, you don't know, second question asked, you don't know, third question you asked, you don't know. You don't have to get flustered. Oh my God, 3 questions, now I am gone. There are people who have, of the 10 questions, 7 questions they have not answered, even then they have got 60% mark. It is not, as I told you, it's not important, because you are giving. It's not important what your answer. The important is how you approach the question. I'm sure you will be able to give some reason, something you will say, but then say, sir, I don't think I am fully equipped. I am fully equipped to give a satisfactory answer. I am not satisfied. Good enough. That is the mark of your personality. So remember, this is your personality test. This is not your knowledge test. Okay? Keep these things in mind. Now, I'm sure you will be having questions in your mind. You shoot the question. I will respond, and that question will be actually the answer will be for everyone, because there will be everyone won't have, and so the question will be almost common. So if one person asks, that answer is applicable to all. Listen carefully, attentively. Yes, come. Okay. Yeah.
So, good morning, sir. I'm going for my 4th UPSC interview. Yes, sir.
By now you don't have to fear.
No,
you
sir.
have saved them.
Fear is not an element. Actually, sir, even after going to 3 interviews, I am not able to decode what UPSC is expecting out of a candidate. So my question to Your Excellency is, sir, I have 2 questions. One is, what is UPSC is looking for in a candidate, and what is UPSC is not looking for in a candidate? And the second question is, what does the UPSC panel like in a candidate, what they don't like in a candidate?
His question is, UPSC, since he is an experienced, he has already faced 3 interviews, he is questioning, his mind is, why, what is that? The question UPSC is looking for. first and foremost you should realize that your result will be out of your total aggregation, your main and interview. How much marks you have secured in it. Suppose if you have not fared properly very good in your mains, interview can pull you up even if it is good up to a point. So it is a balance, it is a addition of the two. So that could be a factor, and that could be a factor. I'm not saying that is the factor. Now what the UPSC looks for in a candidate, it is looking for a potential civil servant, a civil servant who is intelligent. Intelligent means the person is intelligent in approaching a problem, because you will be dealing with problems only wherever you are, whichever field, problems only will come. How you are approaching the problem. Whether that is where I said, I am just repeating what I have already said, that you should not be in a hurry, in a rush to respond. You must process the question. And when you give an answer, don't give a blank answer. You give a answer supported by the reason. You are saying so because of such and such reason. Now, this is one thing which you have to bear in mind. I am just repeating it. That UPSC is looking for a civil servant. UPSC is not looking for an activist. You may be human rights activist, you may be freedom activist, you may be environment activist. Activism has no place in civil service. Activism it often borders, it may be for a good cause. But good cause, as a civil servant, you are a part of a larger whole. You are not an independent, autonomous entity. You must learn to behave as a part of a larger whole, not as I am the boss, brilliant person, yes, my mind, everyone must follow me. No, that will not work. Many a times it happens, my boss tells me, as a civil servant, I don't agree. I tell him my views. But if whatever avenue I have, if it comes on file, I record my view and then send it. But once the final decision comes, I follow it. That decision may not be to my liking. I must conform to the decision that's a corporate decision taken by the competent authority. I have given my views. I am free. To that extent you are free. But once the decision which has been taken, my decision doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. It is that view which I am supposed to execute. Understand? So, this is the difference between an activist. Activist, no. I don't agree. I don't agree attitude. And by the way, in the interview board, don't use the word I don't agree. Somebody tells you, and you say, and you feel you really don't agree with that. Then you say, sir, I'm afraid I differ. I beg to differ. Even if somebody makes a position, then don't be rude and opinionated in your response. No, sir, I don't agree. Do it. I would respect you.
என்கிட்ட ஒன்று கார்டு காசு இல்லை 100 கமிஷன் எடுத்துலாங்கிறேன் இன்னொரு கார்டு வேறு எவ்வளோ நான் வேறு என்ன மைக்கு தான் போட்டேன் அதான் மைக்கு தான் சைன் ஆகும்.
Based on evidence, based on facts, not opinionated, not an activist, is presentable, reachable, accessible to the people. That is what UPSC is looking forward to. Now you can do the introspection if you are missing somewhere in your questions, how you, then you can perhaps find the answer to it. Yes, next question. Yeah.
Sir, is it good to take a guess to a particular question if we are not sure of the answer exactly? Or if we are not 100% sure, should we say that we are not aware, or does it put our integrity into question? What should be the approach in that case?
Look, the question is, if it is your related to, let us say, if you are from, the question is asked from engineering background. Now, engineering background is engineering science. In science, the question is asked related to the science, then you cannot guess. You have to be clear about it. If you know, you know. You don't know, you don't know. Matter is over. You cannot try to go round about it, because people at the board are smarter than you are. They have seen life much more than you are. You are at the threshold of life. They have seen life. They are at the other spectrum of life. So you cannot hoodwink them. Understand? If it in natural science, that is your physics, chemistry, engineering, all these areas, you have to, the question is asked, you know the answer, you respond the answer. If you don't know, I'm afraid, sir, I don't recall the answer. I may not be able to. Be honest. Be honest. About other areas, from politics, from international relations, from national security, from all these areas, law, legal areas, there are areas where these are from social science related. There you can hazard, but you can say that I don't think I am fully aware, but it appears that perhaps this could be, but I am not sure. You know, so instead of just drawing a blank, you can try. You can try and say, but you are putting in a way, not trying to be smart and convince this is the answer. Don't try that, because remember, the people in the board, they are smarter than you guys are, because the sheer fact that they have lived life more than at least twice of your age. Okay? So, be honest. Be honest. Honesty is important. Chalo. Next. Yes, come.
So firstly, thank you for the general tips given. So my question is, if I have to give an opinion on something, if the board has asked me an opinion on something, and the stances of, say, the central government and the Supreme Court differ, or the central government or the state differ. So suppose I'm from Andhra Pradesh. So if the stances of my state differ from the opinion or the stance of, say, the central government, and if my opinion is asked in this scenario, how do I respond? Which position should I take, and what would be an appropriate position expected out of me?
Okay. Now her question is for the benefit of everyone. Her question is, if I have understood you correctly, that if there is a difference of opinion between the central government and the state government, and if, or a difference of opinion as it appears between the Supreme Court and the government, and if court asks me what should I, my response should be good. If it is between the central government and the state government, you should not have any doubt, central government. Because you are being chosen for the central government, civil servant of the union government, not of the state government. So you should not have any confusion about it. You may be from Andhra Pradesh, you may like what Andhra Pradesh is doing is right, but Government of India policy, you have to, look, there are two things. One is a government policy, and second is some statement given by some politicians, maybe even some minister. A statement doesn't become a policy unless it is a prime minister who has said something. Prime minister has said, he doesn't say loose things. But a minister, after all, he is a human being. In some context, he will or she might have said something. That could be her opinion. You are free to agree, disagree, that's not a point. Unless it is prime minister. But if it is a matter of policy, there should not be any confusion. If there is a difference between the central government and the state government, you are there to stand by the central government, right? Second is about Supreme Court and the government. First of all, in such a question, first of all, if it is a Supreme Court judgment, it is a final. There should not be any confusion about it. Because if Supreme Court comes with a judgment, that is the final. This is what Supreme Court has held, and we are all bound to respect that. Whether it is a central government, a state government, anyone. But if Chief Justice of Supreme Court has made some observation, delay in judicial appointment. Suppose nowadays you read in the newspaper delay in judicial appointment, and Supreme Court Chief Justice has expressed concern over delay in judicial. Now your response would be, sir, I am sure the government would be keen on clearing it. There must be something which I am not privy to, because after all there is a process, there must be a process by which the president appoints. So the government, they have to do their own due diligence, and I do not know what exactly it is. I am afraid I may not be able to say. So while you have expressed, you said that okay, you are not criticizing Supreme Court, you are not criticizing Government of India also. You only say, suppose if such a question is asked, that look, but there is a delay, and Collegium has taken a decision, and the government is sitting over it, and this is not good. Your response would be, sir, as far as we know that government has a view that, and which the honorable law minister, whenever you say minister and or channels, you should use the honorable word. Honorable law minister has stated about National Judicial Appointment Commission. But so on which there is a difference of opinion between the Honorable Supreme Court and the government. Now as far as the delay is concerned, I'm sure there must be some reason, because the government might have to, would have to do the due diligence. There could be some procedural delay. That's all. You have neither to just say that no, Supreme Court is right, because the government has taken a view that this is not correct. Judges appointing judges is not a good thing. But you don't have to say no, the court is wrong. You simply say that government has a view. Government has a view that the present system of appointment, judges is not good. However, existing law of the land is, or the procedure is, that the judges collegium makes a recommendation. Government has to do the due processing, and there could be a procedural delay. I'm afraid I don't know what could be the reason. That's all. Yes. Next. Then you will come. Okay.
So my question is, like if a particular question is asked, do we supposed to give very simple and plain answer, or do we attach some recommendation or some report in order to embellish it and look it more qualitative? Does it add more marks to the question? Because same questions may be asked to few candidates. So what are people expecting? Some out-of-the-box solution or what?
No, if the question is something which is based on, which the answer is based on a report of a committee or a commission. Suppose if the question is asked, and about certain policy of the government. That policy is based on certain recommendations. First of all, it's the policy, you are defending the policy. But you are not defending the policy. When I say you defend the central government policy, doesn't mean, no, sir, government of India is always right. No, that's not the point. When you are defending, you give the reasons. Either a committee has been set up, committee has given a report, court has accepted it. You know? So, when you give an answer, the answer should be backed by some reason. Answer should not be just a cryptic one line, yes or no. Or, no sir, this policy is good. This policy is good because you know that this is the policy of the government and government has formed the policy because of such reason. That is the question is asked on Ayushman Bharat policy. You say Ayushman Bharat policy, if you have the data available with you, you quote it. Yes, so many millions of people, those who are now getting benefit out of it, poor people, it is an access to health care. It is an instrument, it is a policy by which the poor and downtrodden people have access to quality health care. So it is good. Not that yes, Ayushman Bharat is good. You give reason, supporting reason, but not too long, you don't have to get into it, but give reason. Not just simply yes or no, or maybe you give reason. You have to give reasons. That, you know what, I asked you the way to your answer. The question, how you have approached the question. The approach to question, the question is asked, you have processed it, you are giving an answer. Answer has to be followed by your reasoning. That this is how you say. You know. Yeah, please.
Another one is how to balance honesty and diplomacy, like certain questions in which they ask our opinion. But do we supposed to give an honest opinion always?
No, what is the meaning of honest opinion? Give the, yeah, please. She has asked a question. Should I give an honest opinion and or what? Now, each individual is unique. You are here, almost more than 60 of you. Maybe we are adding a few. Each one of us are unique in our own way. Now, what I think honest, you may not think honest. He may not think honest. What is honest? Honest moment is your understanding of a particular opinion is based on information that you have. If you get some more info, and you must accept and realize that nobody has got access to full information. None of the candidate has access to full information. Let us say question is asked on LSE. Okay, China has moved. How much do you know about it? You already read in the newspaper. What is your honest opinion on that? Your opinion cannot be your own honest opinion saying that no, we do not know what happened, so we need to be investigated whether the Chinese really came or not came. No, that degree of honesty is not expected. That is not honesty actually. Because what we say honest is based on our own understanding of the situation. If the new evidence, new fact comes, our position will change. And then in that case, do we say that I was dishonest before and now I am honest? No. All these things are tentative. At any point of time, any question that you approach the question based on your understanding at that point of time. And then you respond. And that is why you give a reason. Saying that this is why. I am saying this because of this. Now, if the situation changes, if the fact changes, my response also will change. So, and when somebody asks you about the honest, let us say, what is your view on, let us say, Amrit Kal, will India become a self-reliant or not? If my honest view is no, it will not be. This is not your honest view. This is your prejudice, I would say. Because we all have to work towards that in the next 25 years to make India. So honest view is no, sir, it is all a kind of a morale boosting or political sloganeering and all that. It's not that. We have to work. You don't have to be critical of the government of India policy. You don't have to be critical of Supreme Court. opinion that you give is based on your understanding at that point of time. It must reflect that you are responding based on this reason. The new fact comes, you will change your position. You are open to that. So there is nothing called honest opinion. Yes, maybe personally you may not agree with many policies of it. And these are no-go area. This you keep it to yourself. You don't have to vent it out. No, I have my own reason to say it is not. That kind of honesty will not work here. That is your personal prejudice. Yeah.
Sir, if you ask about performance of a government of India's policies, for example, if you take demonetization, so if we say that yes, it gave push to digital cashless economy, but largely, if I have the facts that largely the economic consequences were not that good. The MSMEs and all, 99% of the cash returns back to the system. So if we have more points regarding the negative impact, so can we take that stand?
Yeah, now, Siddha, a good question. Now the question is asked on demonetization. The demonetization, was it good or bad? The question is asked. Now suppose if you have an input with you that it has given a lot of setback to our economy, a smaller, medium, small enterprises, micro, they suffered a lot because it was essentially a cash driven. These are facts, right? When the question is asked whether demonetization was good or bad, and this may be asked, by the way, you should realize it, such a question can be asked. Your answer should be, sir, demonetization, if you look at from the legal point of view, the Honorable Supreme Court has held it was legally valid. So there is no constitutional issue or legality involved in it. Number one. Number two is its impact. Its impact, if we can think of it, it has been a mixed one. There have been certain decline, and it got some of the businesses which were cash driven, it was a setback, and such setback is expected when you make a radical shift. When you make a radical shift, there will be a setback. When you change the status quo, there will be some change, there will be some discomfort, happens. But eventually it led to more and more digital economy. People have started moving toward, as a result, even today, even the person on the footpath vendor uses digital transaction. So, and today India is the largest digital commerce country in the world. Now, temporary setback is inevitable in any change that happens. Now that any change that you bring about, in radical change that you bring about, it is bound to disturb the status quo, and when the status quo is disturbed, there will be some negative aspect of it. It is given. But in the long run, yes, we have not succeeded in making a cash-free economy. Cash is there, it has come back. But the fact is that this country has become the largest in terms of digital commerce, so much so that even a footpath vendor is using digital medium for transaction. That's the end of it. Yes.
So good morning, sir. So my question is a continuation of my fellow candidate question. So there are certain issues like where Supreme Court hasn't made any decisions. For example, especially sedition, sir. Sedition, Supreme Court has shown its concern and it has kept it in abeyance. But whereas the central government is strong on stance on sedition. In these cases, do we have the liberty to differ from central government, or should we support the central government in these cases, sir? Thanks.
The question is the issue on which there is a difference of position, tentatively, not finalized, but because Supreme Court has not yet declared sedition as ultra vires to the Constitution. But only Supreme Court has put a hold, no more case until the issue is decided. Your response would be, and this is again is a question which can be asked. It is a current living question. That, sir, while Supreme Court has expressed its concern, and concern is based out of alleged misuse. You know, when you say misuse of it, how do you know whether misuse has happened or not? Because you have no access to all the cases that happened. So use the word alleged misuse. It's alleged misuse of it, and the court is of the, it appears, though the case is still sub judice, not finalized, because the government has given time to the government to review it. The government, given the circumstances in where we are, where we have terrorism in the country, where we have people within the country who don't hesitate in taking measures overtly and covertly to weaken the integrity of the country. The state, the need for a stringent law for the state is there. Now the balance has to be struck between the need of the state to maintain the integrity of the state and liberty. I am sure, given the fact that the Honorable Supreme Court has taken cognizance of it, and the government is thinking about it, some way out will be found out to meet the need of the state and also the also to prevent any likely misuse of the existing law. Now that should be that's the way you should respond. Yes, next.
Sir, as you have pointed out that the interview board is looking for a potential civil servant. But at the interview stage, with the lack of training or legal knowledge, with these humble and nascent beginnings, how is the interview board convinced of our answers? Or what part of our personality gives them rigor in our approach to, let's say, law and order or social issues, sir?
You know, interview board doesn't expect you to be expert. Interview board does not expect you to know everything. Interview board expects you to be, as I said, as a potential civil servant, you are intelligent enough to, first thing, you are alert about what is happening around the country, around the world. So you are aware of the development. You are not totally blank. It may happen that you may not recall that thing or everything, that's okay, but you are not completely blank on what is happening. So you are alert citizen. What is happening? Second is you are observant, that what is happening you are reading, you are trying to understand based on whatever comes in the public domain, because your access is only to public domain. And based on that, you are approaching the question. That much is enough. No, but that's what I told you, that your answer is not important. It may be important, but more important is the way you approach the question. The way you approach the question is important, because there you may not, that's what I told you, there are people who have not answered large number of questions they don't know and still come out with a good marks, because there is a taste of your personality. Personality is not just your knowledge. Personality is overall your bearing, how you deal with yourself, that how you look after yourself, that means how you present yourself, and how you deal with others, whether you are a pleasing personality, how do you deal with the problem, how do you approach the question, whether you are approaching the question with an open mind or opinionated mind. If you are fixated, opinionated, these are disqualified, because this shows a personality trait in you which is inconsistent with a good civil servant. If you are opinionated, fixed in your mind, that's not. You can have when you are a civil servant, you have a passion for doing something and you work. That's a different thing. But when at this stage, when a question is asked, what the board is looking for it, how are you approaching it? What is your personality? It's not the test of your knowledge. That has been tested. Keep that in mind. So, nobody expects you to be absolutely super genius, to know everything, all knowledge. No, nobody. It's not an expectation. Yes, next.
Sir, I have this question. It is asked to almost everyone in interview. Why civil services? Everyone says like dedication to public service. It is a challenging and enriching job, and it gives sense of purpose. But like, how can I differentiate it from other candidates? How can I introspect myself so that I can express my personality in this question? Or like, is this a question just asked for initial, like just to ask before beginning the interview for a formality?
No, what you were saying that the question is that why are you joining civil service? Okay. The question is that you are an engineer, you are a doctor. Well, you could have served the country as an engineer, as a doctor. Why do you want to be a civil service? Some people commit the mistake. Some people they say, "Sir, I am committed to service to the nation. I want to be patriotic and I want to serve." Look, I mean, don't try to give all these kind of answers at all. Be honest. Be honest. You say, sir, yes. First and foremost, you say, there are, as a civil service, in civil service, it gives you definitely much wider opportunity to do the service. You serve the country at a different scale. As a civil service gives you an opportunity to serve at a scale much larger than your profession could give you. As an engineer, you are working somewhere, you are an engineer doing great job. It's not like that. It is not less. But it comes, you may be creating some new thing, new technology, which can serve the larger humanity to a large extent, much more than any civil servant can do it. But when it comes to service, civil service gives a much wider opportunity for service, number one. Number two, you will be able to influence the lives of a larger number of people by being a civil servant, by being a part of policy formulation and also delivery system, both. You will be able to influence for the better the lives of large number of, you can touch the lives of large number of people as a civil servant. Both ways. When you are in the field, you are delivering the service. Okay? Maybe as a district collector, maybe as a district SP, wherever you are. You will be actually delivering the service to the people, much larger. And when you are in the secretariat or the headquarters, you are a part of policy formulation, which again will touch the lives of larger number of people. So it gives opportunity to serve at a much larger scale. It gives opportunity to touch the lives of people at a much larger scale, and it also adds to my prestige in my society, among my people. Don't have to be too humble enough to say, no, I am only going for service. Admit, yes, it gives us. It is a matter of pride. It is a matter of pride to be a civil servant. It gives me prestige. Be honest. This question invariably, when the board members are tired, that because you may not be the first candidate, everyone has to ask questions. Just to make why do you want to be a civil servant? You are an engineer, Mr. So-and-so, why do you want to be a civil servant? This will be many a times it will be a gap filler for them to relax also. But your answer to your the way you answer will also reflect your personality. Whether this man is just trying to be too smart, that okay, I am here all. My father was a great civil servant, sir. My father, he has taught me to be in the service of the people, dedicate my life. All this nonsense don't talk. Be realist, be honest. They are all far smarter people. But yes, You must be honest in the sense that yes, civil service gives you a much larger and wider opportunity to serve the people at a scale much more than what my profession can give. It also gives me opportunity to touch the lives of, for the better, a large number of people. And it is also prestigious. Wouldn't? Be honest. Yes. Yeah.
Sir, last year I have UPSC interview for Indian Forest Services. Sir, when I was about to enter the interview room, what I found that sir, my legs are shaking, my voice was breaking, and my heartbeat increased a lot. Sir, please give us some tips how to be confident and shed out nervousness.
Yeah. I tell you one thing, this is something which is not unique to him. Many candidates have this problem. You know, that you feel you are psychologically disturbed when you are going to the first thing, you are waiting, the first man comes. The waiting itself, all the time it is haunting. What time this man is getting out, your palm may start sweating and all. You know, first thing is, if you are not doing, start doing it now. And even at that time when you are sitting at it, you keep pranayam, you know, pranayam, deep breathing. All the inhalation, exhalation. Deep breathing. You know, deep breathing. Remain properly hydrated. Water. Try to get a good night's sleep before you go. And develop an attitude that the people whom you are going to face, they are also lesser mortals. You know, there is a novel by was that of human bondage, written by Foster. No, what's his name? I'm forgetting the. No, being a physics student, being away, and now I think I am out of this creative life. Is getting not striking. Of human bondage is a very, very famous one, a famous work. There, the writer writes in a character. There is a big judge sitting with all the wigs and all those, and he says that his lordship, while sitting in the chair, he should also keep a toilet paper on the side to remind him that you are a human being. Now remember that people, those who are in the board, they are elder, they are not different. You don't have to, this is something which you need to develop, you know. Now, are you developing any cold feet, legs shaking when you are talking to me? How are you feeling now?
At that time, I have thoughts like I'm just 21 years old, and they have combined experience of more than 200 years.
Now, if that's what I'm saying, that at 21 years, you have qualified for interview. In all likelihood, none of the members in the board could have qualified at the age of 21. You know, or maybe one or two might have. Otherwise, they would not have qualified. So have that confidence. Have that confidence. Pranayam, deep breathing, try and convince yourself. And even when you are waiting for the interview. You are there, suppose your turn will come after half an hour or maybe an hour. At that time, while sitting, instead of letting your mind cloud, and don't start thinking about question and answer, don't. Take deep breathing, listen music. If you have, of course, they will not allow you to carry your mobile, otherwise you could have listened to a good music. Listen to music Just relax. This is not the end of the world, okay? Suppose if you don't make it, so what? I'll try again. What do you think about it? You are not going to walk into Bay of Bengal. Huh? So, there are not many people who have done great work. They are doing very happy outside. It's not necessary. So, don't think that not getting a civil service is the end of the world. No. Develop that attitude. You must realize that if you are 21 and if you have qualified, you are special. Because there are very few people who qualify at the age of 21. Understand? Yes. So have that confidence in you. Yes.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Next.
Sir, my question is on choice of preference. Like UPSC asks for preference of service. We tend to give IAS as first preference, but my first preference is IPS, Indian Police Service. So whenever we choose Indian Police Service as first preference, UPSC generally asks questions on only issues in the police system. We make up our mind, we prepare on efficiency of police system, but UPSC asks only on issues in police system. So how to highlight the issues, like what issues we should highlight or how to defend our stand?
No, listen. Is there somebody new in police? No. So you are not supposed to know much about how the police works except your perception of it. Suppose if your first preference is police service, and if the question is asked, why Mr. So-and-so, why are you choosing police service? Now I will ask you the same question, tell me, why do you want to be a police officer? Or be honest, yes. Why? Why do you want to be a police officer? Yes. Now listen. Please sit down. If the question is asked like this, you should be honest enough. Say, look, sir, I have seen the police officer, the kind of direct contact that they have with the people, and the kind of first response in crisis when somebody somewhere happens. Any other service other than medical is not as quick responder as the police. Okay? So, as a police officer, I feel that I will be able to touch the lives of many people in distress by improving the law and order, which is a basic condition for anything else, for any society to develop. The first and foremost requirement is maintenance of law and order. If the law and order is not properly maintained, other professions cannot grow. So, as a first responder, responding to a person in distress, preventing distress to come, because as a police officer, I will also be able to create an environment where crimes are not committed, where the law and order is properly maintained. And I have, it's very unusual. Normally I keep my phone in a flight mode whenever I meet. Today I think I just slipped out. So, see, I love the way you can respond directly, and look at this. The people who suffer most in day-to-day life are people who are poor, who are not privileged. And as a police officer, I can be their savior. I can provide them the succor. That motivates me. And of course, add to that the charm of the uniform. Don't hesitate in telling that. Charm of the uniform. That also. Now, a person who is privileged, person who is well off, he may not need, he will talk to somebody, he may talk to the top guys for addressing the problem. The most of the problems which police addresses are the problems which affect the ordinary folks, poor people, deprived people, and you are there, standing by them, ensuring that they don't have tears in their eyes. This is a great service, and I feel that is what I should do. Be honest. You don't have to say how the police to be reformed and all, because what do you know about police? I mean, if you were to start talking about police reform at a stage where you are not familiar with it, say, look sir, once I get into the system, I will be, but there are certain things like there is a negative perception, some policemen not behaving properly, but things are changing, and if I am inside, I will be able to know more about it. Because when you don't know about a thing, how can you comment on that? It will all look artificial. If you say, no sir, this is police commission so-and-so said that, police commission so-and-so said that, and these will sound pedantic. Be honest. Tell it. Yes. Next. Yeah. क्या हुआ? It's not working?
Sir, in case of gender inequality or equality related issues, am I expected to take a stand or should I take a middle path?
Look, as a lady candidate, is expected of you is to defend the interest of the ladies. No harm in taking a position that yes, because even look at Prime Minister in all the meetings, by and large, he all talks about Nari Shakti, the women empowerment. The country with the half of the population, if they do not come up and move forward, country cannot move forward. So, and today, the field is not level, is not a level playing field for women. Thanks to the recent initiative of the Prime Minister that we have things like a toilet in schools for girl children, workplaces, and all those things are there. New avenues are opened. But when it comes to gender related, you must take a position that women needs to be empowered, women needs to be more aspirational and come forward, for which opportunities must be given. Now, you do not have to be, while talking about women empowerment and women, more and more women coming up, moving forward, you don't have to be unduly critical to the men. There is a difference between having a positive approach that yes, this country, if we all, Prime Minister has said in the Amrit Kal is next quarter century. By 2047, India must be a fully developed country. Now, India cannot be a fully developed country if its women folk are behind. You cannot, no society can. And that is why the emphasis of the Prime Minister has been to provide more and more opportunities. Right from cooking gas to the ladies in the villages who don't have access, toilet in the houses, nutrition to prenatal, postnatal, all the cares for the growth. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, all these are essentially to build the nation. The nation cannot be built if the women's full potential is not harnessed. You know, today our workforce participation of women is far, far less than what it should be. We must. So you must take a position in support of the women empowerment that is expected of you. But while doing so, you make out this case rather than women have been suppressing, men have been suppressing, men are male chauvinists and all. That part you have to ignore it. That part, even if it is there within you, you don't have to speak out. You just put on the positive side. Yes, women have to come. This country has to be great. If it has to be fully developed in the next 25 years, as Prime Minister has said, women have to come forward, and their full potential must be harnessed. And greater emphasis for this, we have to create adequate environment conducive for their coming forward. Yes, you must be in support of them. Yes, next. Come. You can shout there, no issue. You can speak loud.
Sir, there are numerous long pending border issues, interstate border issues. And sir, there is Article 3 which empowers central government to reorganize the states. So how to approach this question related to interstate borders?
Yes. Now, interstate border we have in our country, many states have interstate problems they have. Another question, you added that central government has Article 3. Article 3 is not for central government, it is for parliament. Now, in a question of interstate border dispute or interstate any dispute, water dispute, border dispute, there can be any number of disputes. Your response would be, sir, in our country there are so many states were created during the state reorganization, and subsequently more and more states have been created, and out of one state, many states have been created. And in the process, there are some issues regarding sharing of resources. Resources can be land, resources can be water, sharing of resources. In this regard, there is an interstate council headed by the Union Home Minister. Interstate council is headed by the Home Minister. Regional councils is headed by we have several regional interstate councils. Regional councils of the states of the region. Southeast has the southeast, the 5 states. Similarly, North has different northeast. So there are regional councils where the chief ministers of all the states are member, and the Union Home Minister is the chairperson. And there is an interstate council functioning at the central level. All these mechanisms are meant to address the issue of interstate disputes. Many a times the disputes even go to the judiciary. There is a Supreme Court. Supreme Court also looks into it. So I think, sir, these issues have to be resolved. Having said all that, you said, these issues have to be resolved through peaceful dialogue. Peaceful dialogue. It is, and you can also say, you can add that most of these disputes are also as a result of inadequate communication and improper appreciation of the situation. So with a mature handling and through peaceful dialogue, these issues can be resolved. And for which we have a mechanism. Mechanism are interstate councils, regional councils. There are certain tribunals which have been created by the Supreme Court over the water disputes and all between the states. So you rely on these instruments, that there are instruments, but your input will be, it should be done through peaceful dialogue. The aggressive politics by either party, it only creates problem, it does not do good to anyone. Understand? So your answer should be through peaceful process. That will be your input. Rest you will be stating the fact. Yes, next.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is, suppose the board asks question on any issues, for example, issues in your district, issues in your state, or issues you have faced in police system, civil services system. So should we address those? Should we discuss those issues only, or should we provide some solutions also, so that we should appear like a solution-oriented person?
Look, solution-oriented you can give. There is no harm in it. For example, let us say you are all, by and large, except a few, you are all from Tamil Nadu. Okay. A question is asked. Sit down. A question is asked about Sri Lankan refugees, or question is asked about Tamils in Sri Lanka. Question is asked about Tamil fishermen getting caught by Sri Lanka. There can be, it will be a state specific. These questions will be only asked, you guys would be able to, and you should be able to respond. You cannot say, sir, sorry, I don't know about it. That will not be an answer, because that shows you are not alert. These are issues which you hear. Now, your response would be, sir, these Sri Lankan people, they have refugees, those who have come, they have come under extreme distress situations, and it is a humanitarian issue. It is a humanitarian issue, and it has to be, and it should be dealt with sensitivity. A large number of refugees have been living in Tamil Nadu, and basic humanitarian cares are being provided by the state government and the central government. And the central government, and it should continue. As far as their final status is concerned, I am sure the government would take a call what should be, whether they should be given citizenship, not to given citizenship, what it should be done. Diplomatically also, we should approach the Sri Lankan government not to create a situation by which their people are forced to leave. Nobody likes to leave one's place. So diplomatically, Government of India is also, and I'm sure Government of India would be doing that. Whether they are doing it or not, you are not aware, but to add to that, I'm sure Government of India would be doing that. We should create situation for their safe return